Every coach has things they focus on during a quarterback competition, and Ryan Day's the same way. He has things he's going to look closely at before he names a player QB1 at Ohio State.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Monday, February 27th in the year 2023, and I'd like to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During this episode, we're going to discuss if Ryan Day should use the length of time a player has been at Ohio State as a reason to give a player an upper hand in the quarterback competition. And for the first time in 56 days, Ohio State won a basketball game. But before we get to any of that, the quarterback competition is going to get a lot more attention around here over the next few weeks, especially once spring practice begins. Of course, we'll be trying to find all the biggest news at the school at Ohio State so that you get all the news, you get all the updates you want and need as a Buckeye fan. But ultimately, a lot of our focus with spring practice starting March 7th, with the spring game being April 15th, is going to be focused once again on the quarterback competition. This might be different, or it is different than when Justin Fields was named QB1 and when Stroud was named QB1. Those guys were always a favorite in the locker room and the clubhouse prior to winning the job as starting quarterback at Ohio State. This feels like a true quarterback competition, which is why Devin Brown, Kyle McCord, the two guys that are in the top two seats to fight to be the person at the top of the totem pole and the quarterback room, they're going to be looking at some things closely, not just their skill set, not just what they do well, but ultimately, what does Ryan Day want in a quarterback? I mean, if we can just stop right there and look at this and say, well, Ryan Day wants certain things in a quarterback, well, what are they? Because if they don't understand what Ryan Day wants from a quarterback and from his quarterback, are they truly going to be the best guy for the job? Understanding what your coach wants is key. And once you understand that, you can properly add those things to your bag of tools so that when you're on the football field, you can be the best quarterback and be the best you can be all you can be, and ultimately be close to being named or possibly being named QB1 at Ohio State. Well, when it comes to some things that Ryan Day looks for, and I value these as well, when Ryan Day may be looking at things that he is going to discuss with his quarterbacks or quarterback coach or other offensive coaches, Ryan Day is going to value somebody and prop up somebody that values the ball. Now, sometimes this comes with experience on the football field. You learn more about how to value the ball in game, in college. Not saying you don't know how to value the ball, but once you realize some of those throws I made in high school I can't make in the Big Ten Conference, or some of those things I used to do, maybe running for scrambling, running for 5 to 10 yards or 15 yards, maybe those are 2 or 3 or 4 yard gains due to the speed and physicality of the conference. And so you got to figure out what Ryan Day wants. We all know Ryan Day values the ball. He wants someone who values the ball. It is not just all about someone who doesn't fumble the ball, someone who doesn't throw interceptions. Yeah, that's great. I don't think any coach wants that. But the decision making is key. And when you figure out what your coach wants, you can say, well, does what they want make sense? Yes, valuing the ball makes sense. Does Ryan Day putting an emphasis on valuing the ball and making it some things that are not turning the ball over? Does that make sense? Absolutely. Do you think that these two guys, that you know enough about these two quarterbacks in McCord and Brown to say one values the ball more than the other, or one is better at valuing the ball over the other? Honestly, you probably don't. You don't have enough game film, 3, 4, 5 game film to truly see who values the ball more, how they value the ball in themselves. You don't. Kyle McCord's been there longer. Kyle McCord, you have more film on. Okay, great. You got more film on. So you see the good the bad, the in-between, the intermediate plays, the good plays, just the neutral plays. You've seen all of that. But you don't have enough tape on both guys to say one guy values the ball over the other because really there's not much tape on Devin Brown. The last thing I saw on the Bird app on the Twitter about Devin Brown, a video, it was something like from basically a year ago during the spring game, almost a year ago now, during the spring game in 2022. We don't have enough film on him, and Ryan Day knows that, which is why Ryan Day is focused on these things during practice, and I like that. I love it. Think about you being in Ryan Day's shoes or in Corey Dennis's shoes or in Brian Hartline's shoes or Tony Alford's shoes or Justin Fry's. I'm going through all the offensive coaches on purpose because I do think all of them have an idea or a thought about who should be the starting quarterback. Because, well, who works best with the offensive line? Think about that. How well does the person who works good with the offensive line, how well do they work with the receivers? How well do they communicate with them? How well does somebody hand the ball off? Like, is the mesh point in a handoff, is it too high, too low, a couple centimeters too low, which leads to a fumble? Where is the mesh point? How does someone handle a huddle if Ohio State huddles? Think about all of these things. Now, some of those go with valuing the ball, the mesh point and handing the ball off. That definitely goes. But some of these things are other factors. So I know the coaches are going to have some things they're looking at and how they think a person should be propped up or pulled down in the QB competition. But ultimately, when it comes to Ryan Day, valuing the ball is key. Turnovers, yes. Fumbles, interceptions fall in that category. But I think the longer we watch Ryan Day, the longer we become football fans, the more football we watch at Ohio State, I think all of us value a quarterback that makes phenomenal decisions all the time. It's not just picking the right read. It's not just picking the right audible. How about somebody who knows, do I roll out the pocket or do I stay inside? Decision making. Do I run past line of scrimmage or stay behind it and throw that ball down for a first down? Decision making. Ultimately, is it, hey, do I get on a guy or do I not get on a guy? How harshly do I get on him? Decision making. Some of these things can help you value the ball or not. Now, the one-on-one conversation with the player, those are not so much in-game things as far as like play by play after the ball is snapped, but it can be. Ultimately, valuing the ball is key. Ryan Day focuses on that, and I do think Kyle McCord and Devin Brown know that as they are trying to be named QB1 at Ohio State. Being named QB1 is an amazing thing. But should Ryan Day put value in a player that has been at the school longer and put him up and make him more likely to be named QB1 just due to his tenure at Ohio State? We'll discuss that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to us by our good friends at Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat but don't want all of the fat and calories? Then you gotta try a Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. If you're like me, where you want to eat healthier but don't want to compromise taste, then man, I've got just the thing for you. You've got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. And that's still an option. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later. Thanks again for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked on College Basketball. It provides you with everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked on College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts. Some of y'all might have been seeing the eyes on the YouTube or the lack of the thing that is on the eyes, helping them see a little bit better. The spectacles of glasses are next to me, trying something new, trying something different. It's something that I've done for a very long time. I know how to wear, I know how glasses, know a little bit about glasses and how they assist me and how they help me with the vision and see things. I know when to wear them. I know when I don't need to wear them. I have a different pair of glasses that I wear at work. When I do manual labor type jobs, I wear a different pair of glasses at work than the things that I wear every time I'm here on the show. So I've done this before, not using the glasses on the show. I'm trying something new today. We're going to see how long this goes. Speaking of someone that has been there for something I've done for quite a long time, when it comes to the quarterback competition, Ryan Day could be a human. Well, he is human. He can make the very easy decision to say the guy who has been here longer, the guy who has been doing this a whole lot longer, is the guy who I'm going to prop up in the quarterback competition before practice even starts. Why? Because he knows me better. He knows the team better. He knows a playbook better. All of these things, the longer you're at a place, you know it better. Similar to the longer I wear glasses, I know which ones fit my face better. I know when they slip down. I know when I need to go to the eye doctor to get some things tightened up. I know when it's time to get new glasses, maybe to get a stronger prescription. I understand all of those things a little bit, not all the way, just a little bit, due to how long I have worn the glasses. Similar to this quarterback competition. And then comes this thought. Should Ryan Day prop up Kyle McCord and make him the leader in the clubhouse just because or only because he has been at Ohio State longer than Devin Brown? No. I ain't going to wait around to answer that question. Not going to wait around at all. I have another spin-off of this question that's going to come here in a little bit, so bear with me for those either think Jay is crazy, that Kyle McCord should be the better quarterback, have the upper hand right now just due to how long he's been at the school. I got no. And here's why. May the best man win the competition. Let's change that a little bit. May the quarterback that is the best with our offense win the competition. I think it's that simple. Actually, it's not I think. I know it's that simple. Now, it may not be as easy as me saying this to decide who's going to be the starting quarterback. It may not be that easy. Honestly, I don't think it's that easy. So I think Devin Brown's talented. I think McCord's talented. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I think Lincoln Kienholz, if he was able to come during the spring, he would up the level of play between McCord and Brown because that young man is talented. Now, Lincoln Kienholz, he needs to put on some weight. I know that automatically. He's a freshman in high school. Almost every freshman needs to add a little bit of weight before playing college football. I don't think he would win the competition, but I firmly think Lincoln Kienholz coming in at his skill set and being as athletic as he is and being somebody who has learned different things with his body, playing 3 different sports, I think he could add a wrinkle and spice up this QB competition if he were here. But no, man, the tenure don't mean nothing to me. Doesn't mean anything at all. May the best man win. That's exactly how Ryan Day should view it. Think about this part. A little spinoff I mentioned a little bit earlier. You know, Fast and Furious is coming out with, I believe, the 10th movie, and they have a spinoff of Hobbs and Shaw, which was just okay. I watch movies with The Rock in them. Sometimes they're not that good, or they're just okay. He did a movie with Kevin Hart. I forget which one. It was just okay. So I watched The Rock movies. I don't know how I got on this subject, but I watched movies with The Rock, Hobbs and Shaw. I watched it mainly because of The Rock, and it was decent. It was a decent movie, but it was a spinoff of Fast and Furious. So he got a spinoff of that first question to go along with this. Should Kyle McCord have the upper hand just because him and Marvin Harrison Jr. were high school teammates? Absolutely not. I ain't wasting no time answering these questions because I know the longer I waste, the more time I waste, it's just going to prolong, and I'm going to have more thoughts, and we're going to be here a little bit longer. No. Now it would be great. It would be great to see McCord and Harrison Jr. Route Manmar out there slinging that rock like they did over there in Pennsylvania. It would be great to see that. It would be great to see McCord and Harrison Jr. be on the field celebrating together in the shoe. It would be great to see high school teammates continue a connection they had in high school at the prep level to ultimately take that to the high level Power 5 level of college football and to continue that trend at that level. It would be great, but ultimately, that should not be a reason Ryan Day says you're going to be the starting quarterback. Disregard everything else. Disregard the things you've done in practice, the things you've done during the scrimmages, during the games. Disregard all of that. Nope, you should only be named starting quarterback due to a connection you had in high school. No, that should not be a deciding factor. Now, I think most of you will agree with me. It may be a reason, excuse me, I know it'll be a reason why Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyle McCord connect better on the football field. I know that to a T. For a fact, I know that for sure. How do I know that? They got prior chemistry. They got prior history of playing the football together. To me, it's somewhat a little bit of common sense. It should help them on the football field. But no, that should not be why anybody is named starting quarterback at the Ohio State University. And ultimately, I think both of these guys are worthy. Both of these guys have a great opportunity in front of them. And once they start spring practice, once things get ramped up, once they do one starters versus starters, good versus good, whatever you want to call that level of practice, we're going to see as clips start going around the social media. Not all the clips, because Ryan Day and Ohio State, they're pretty tight with the media coming to practice. I know Joey Galloway has been there. I know Holly Rowe has been there. I know for a fact Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, Joel Klatt. I know this for a fact. I know Bobby Carpenter, former Ohio State linebacker. He's been at practices as well. I understand they let certain people in there, but you got to follow the rules, buddy. And certain things cannot be videoed and put on the socials. Certain things got to be kept to ourselves. I understand that. But as those clips start going around, especially during spring practice, we're going to see, we're clearly going to see who the better quarterback is. And honestly, we might not see a good glimpse of it until the spring game, which I can't wait for. Football in April in the shoe, I don't care if it's just a practice or a scrimmage. I am here for it. And I hope to see some of you there on April 15th at the Ohio State spring game, because I'll be there and I cannot wait to see the Buckeyes on the pads and the shoe once again. Something that happened. Now, when you see Buckeye football, we know what they do. We know how well they play. The Buckeye basketball team hasn't played good basketball in quite a long time. But for the first time in 56 days, the Buckeye basketball team won a basketball game. We'll talk about what went down during their Sunday matinee with the Illinois Fighting Illini next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. Sports betting is now legal in Ohio, and Locked On has the perfect show to help new and seasoned gamblers. Download and subscribe to Locked On Bets for daily picks and analysis wherever you get your fine podcasts. They were playing basketball on Sunday afternoon in the Shot, and let me tell you, it was fun to watch. I have been on this show numerous times. I've been on other places, and I will clearly tell you, I have told people I did not think this team was going to win another basketball game this season. I did not see how. But then Chris Holtmann did something that was unexpected, because it wasn't something he did prior and earlier in the season. Started 4 freshmen consistently. Not one, not two. Holtmann started 4 freshmen 3 games in a row. Bruce Thornton, Bryce Sensabaugh, been starting all season long. Roddy Gill Jr., Felix Okpara joined the starting lineup just as Sewing keeps his starting role. And ultimately, those 4 together are playing good basketball. Like, really good basketball. Chris Holtmann found a way to overcome Zedke's injury, found a way to get these guys to play good defense and better defense than they have played over the past 10 to 15 games. And ultimately, this team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, look like a team that Chris Holtmann coached. A Chris Holtmann coached basketball team. And as Jay Wright said so well during the broadcast on CBS, what we saw on Sunday was more of what a Chris Holtmann coached basketball team looks like. Ultimately, Jay Wright said this looks more like the team that they played last year in the NC2A tournament and more like the teams that his Villanova basketball teams played when Holtman was coaching at Butler. Physical, consistent, sound basketball, fighting and going after loose balls, picking up transition defense, finding the holes in the defense, and exploiting them consistently. That looked more like a Buckeye basketball team. In this game, leading scorer Bruce Thornton made 8 of his 11 field goals, made 1 of his 2 3-point shots, had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And let me tell you, Bruce Thornton was in his bag off a pick and roll or the catch and shoot or the quick dribble drive or doing things off of a screen. Bruce Thornton was in his bag. Followed it up with Bryce Sensabaugh and Justice Suing. They had 14 points of their own. Suing had a double-double, adding in 11 rebounds. Off the bench, Chris Holtman used 3 guys. Once again, used 3 guys against Penn State. Eugene Brown III had 9 points, made all 4 of his field goals. Sean McNeil had 9 points. Ice Likely, 0 points, adding 4 rebounds and 2 assists after playing 27 minutes in this contest. I think one of the best decisions Chris Holtman made in this game was only playing Felix Okpara 8 minutes. Now, you may want to say, Jay, there's no Zed Key. Okpara is the only big man Chris Holtman will play consistent minutes. Why do you think it was wise for him to pull Okpara to play a smaller lineup? Because it worked. It worked. One thing you know with Illinois basketball is they're going to be really good and consistent at scoring in the transition game. Consistently doing so. And so we saw with Okpara, yeah, he could run the floor. He could do that thing. But ultimately, was he the best option to allow Ohio State to do that very thing and to allow them to play good basketball and do all the things that are needed to stop somebody in transition? No. What we saw was no matter if it was Sean McNeil, Ice Likely, or Eugene Brown III, ultimately what we saw was they were the better, the small ball lineup with Suing and Bryce Sensabaugh being the big men in the contest. Though that lineup was better. Sensabaugh not the best on defense, getting better. Still not the best. And I believe what we saw was a team that played better offense together, moved better, made more mismatches on the other end, made it cause more confusion when the Buckeyes had the offense. That was something that we saw. Yeah, we got Eugene Brown III. So we want to talk about a negative. Eugene Brown III got dunked on. It's not really negative. It happens. Like, that stuff happens. Ultimately, Bryce Sensabaugh had his own highlight reel and dunk of his own. Illinois had 4 guys scoring double digits, but it wasn't enough. It was not enough in this contest. I have complained and complained and complained and complained and discussed the problem with the Buckeyes and the hustle stats. I said it once. I'll say it again. They need to get better at making sure they're doing all the things in the hustle stat category to make themselves and put themselves in the best situation to win a game. The Buckeyes had more points in the paint than Illinois. Buckeyes had 46. Yes, 46 of the 72 points Ohio State had in this contest came in the paint. They got 18 points off the bench. They had 11 second chance points. They had 40 rebounds in this game. They had 12 points off turnovers. Now, granted, after a 1 turnover performance against Penn State, they had 15 turnovers in this game. But one thing I also love about this game, Ohio State closed this game out stronger. We have seen them close out games and not do it well. We have saw them in this game. Ohio State made all 7 of the field goals that they made at the end of the game. 7 straight field goals to close out the game. The Buckeyes did that. So they won. They did great in the hustle stat category. They did great making 7 straight field goals too in the game. They did great in figuring out a lineup that works. They stuck with it. Chris Holtman, I've been critical. I'm not going to stop being critical. But congrats to the Buckeyes. Because for the first time since January 21st, they won a basketball game. I'm going to make a statement. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But they can beat Maryland on Wednesday night. It's coming Wednesday. They could have beat them the past time when they were in College Park, but Maryland was shooting the ball at a way that Ohio State could not overcome. They could beat Maryland. Is it going to happen? That's to be determined. Guys, right here on this Monday. Fun to be back here with you. Talk about Buckeye football and basketball right here on Locked On Buckeyes. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. For your second listen, check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big-name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcast.